So radio just needs to, remind itself that, there's no reinventing of any wheels required. People will still turn it on and hear the same thing they heard maybe 5 years ago. And in some provinces, literally, the same person you heard 5 years ago is more than likely the same person that you'll turn on and listen to right now if you put the radio on in the morning.
Hello, welcome to Dan's Got Change with Bright Rock, and welcome to a conversation with, and is this too much information, a man I used to wake up with for many, 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 many mornings. Well, sort of. He was my choice of breakfast radio host when I was still living down in Cape Town, and I'd fling it on and he'd always get my day off to a flying start. He's been in the radio industry for far longer than you'd imagine, because he doesn't look a day over 30, but he's a bit of a veteran in the industry, and he's a good friend of the Dan Nicholl Show. Hello, Ryan O'Connor.
Dan Nicholl, look at you. You look amazing.
It's the Mutual Admiration and Mutual Appreciation Society today. Ryan, it's always fantastic to see you, and fantastic for many reasons, but mostly because you always just have this relentless energy to you. There's always a smiling face. You're always positive. You're always doing stuff. And I know it's genuine because you are a happy, outgoing person who loves to get stuck into things. But there must be times when even the great Ryan O'Connor doesn't actually just feel like smiling at the world, doesn't feel like jumping out of bed and going to see 100 different people. How do you deal with that kind of situation? How do you deal with life when it changes to a slightly cloudier day?
I'll tell you, and there have been plenty of those over the past 18 months, that's for sure. I think that, and it's kind of, I guess, comes from many years of having to wake up other people up and put them in a good mood and get their day off to a great start. Doing breakfast or morning radio, you kind of learn that you can have an approach it in, I guess, two ways. One is to kind of, let others go to work feeling great, positive, and in that good space. Or you can kind of be as the day kind of, as you get out of bed, you feel miserable today. Well, let me be miserable to my listeners, get them all off to wherever they need to be feeling miserable. So after a while, I actually had to, and that's a good question, because I actually had to reflect and go, well, listen, this is kind of hard. It's kind of hard to pretend to be good on the days when, or happy on the days when you're not good, you're not happy, you're not feeling positive. So there needed to come a time in my career and in my life where I'd have to go, listen, by the time I got home after a long day, and with having kids, they want your time and they want your attention. They want happy dad to be there. They also want dad, the same positive dad that can be positive to everybody and everybody else. Why can't you be happy? And so realistically, I've had to learn that balance is key. It really is. I have a great positive outlook as a family. We get up and from the word go in the morning, we try to see the brighter things in life, as opposed to getting up and seeing the normality of bad and sad news around us. And I think having a kind of family that puts life aside and spends time together, first thing in the morning and last thing at night, it's kind of helped me balance that the energy out, number one, and realistically the outlook to kind of be a positive kind of person from 8 o'clock onwards when the kids are dropped off at school. And I start that day, I've got a lot to be grateful for. I've got a lot to be happy about. And certainly being exposed to the past 18 months, the after effects, we're still reeling as a country from COVID and the damage it's done to so many families, and trying to be positive for those families is if I'm not going to do it, who is going to do it?
You do it so well, and you do it through a medium that has been part of the lives of most people for so long, but it's a space that is definitely changing. If I jump into my car in the morning, I can be listening to radio, but I can be listening to music from my Apple Music account. I can be listening to a podcast. There are so many different forms of entertainment. Is radio still relevant? How is radio staying relevant in this huge spectrum of entertainment?
Absolutely. I think that, we're South Africa still battles with things like data. I mean, essentially, you're a man that travels a lot. You know that anywhere in the world, you can literally get off a plane and you can access free data. Free data is available to, I guess, a large portion of the world. In South Africa, we're still paying a hell of a lot of money for data, even though that data fight is one that's on a daily basis to try and get those prices down. This radio still is the easiest way for majority of the population to get their news and to communicate. So what we have found over the past couple of years is that radio has done this not as probably as effectively as it could, but it's transitioned across from being just a radio across to being a digital platform, to being a content creator, to being a storyteller for people who aren't consuming the radio anymore. And the majority of people are still consuming radio. And I'll tell you, besides the data, it's still the easiest thing to do. If you, like me, and I know you are, you love your cars. I know that when you hop into the latest BMW, the first thing you do is sync your phone across. And then, when you hop in, my kids know exactly how to work the dials and get their music going. But you've got to get it going. It doesn't matter how great the technology is. Often you've left off where your phone doesn't pay or whatever. And your go-to is still the radio. Your go-to is still put your finger on the start button and the radio comes on. So radio just needs to, remind itself that, there's no reinventing of any wheels required. People will still turn it on and hear the same thing they heard maybe 5 years ago. And in some provinces, literally, the same person you heard 5 years ago is more than likely the same person that you'll turn on and listen to right now if you put the radio on in the morning.
And that speaks to the comfort, I think, that radio has. We feel that we're friends with our favorite breakfast team or afternoon drive team. They're part of our family, part of our daily ritual. And that gives us great experiences. What about from your side of it? If you look back over this long career, successful career you've had, is there a particular moment on radio that sticks out, that made you cry, made you laugh uncontrollably, that you're just so fond of thinking about?
I think that, a lot of people have said, isn't it fantastic to talk to stars, having, these great people. You've had Kevin Spacey. I mean, you meet some of the greatest people on earth in terms of what they've achieved with their life, whether it's on a sports field or in front of a camera. Some household names who would 99% of people would die to get the opportunity to sit and spend some time in their company. Yet the most rewarding for me is being able to be a part of somebody's life who is desperately in need of a companion or somebody to be there for whatever it is that they're going through. The most rewarding bits of radio are being able to use the platform and the medium to reach out to others that desperately need, and not even a hand up, just a hand to hold. A lot of time we want to try and put that hand out and lift somebody up, but often all that person needs is just a hand to hold because they don't have any hands to hold. And the most amazing part of my entire career has been able to look back and go, I didn't just use that platform to make Ryan famous, to make loads of money, that I used it to do some kind of good with the privilege of having the space that I've had. And if I look back, that's been the greatest aspect of my journey, is being able to, wherever I can, offer out a hand and go, as much as we're a station that talks to 1 million people, I want to be the station that talks and helps with one person as well, out of those 1 million people listening. So that has been by far the greatest reward. And bumping into people many years later, there was a wonderful lady I bumped into a couple of weeks ago at the Arabella in the Western Cape, and she works in the spa there, and they've just opened up that spa. And she said, Ryan, do you remember me? And I'm so terrible, Dan. I mean, that must happen to, I think, a lot of people that people think that they're familiar with. They go, hey, Dan, don't you remember? Hey, Ryan, don't you remember? And I was, for the life of me, I'm going, I don't really remember you. She said, listen, I've got to tell you something. I was too embarrassed to go to work 5-10 years ago. I was in an accident and I lost all my teeth. And I took a long shot and I needed my teeth to be replaced, and you replaced all of them. And she gave me the smile, and there was just the most beautiful teeth. And she said, this has given me the confidence to not only be the best that I can be, but every time I look in the mirror, I'm reminded of you, and that somebody had heard my story and did something about it. And I was just so convinced I'd be spending my life indoors, away from people. And it took me a year after getting new teeth. Every time I smiled, I still put my hand in front of my face because I was too embarrassed to show people what I looked like. And seeing that, and I mean, that was just, the tears welled up, and I knew that was one of the reasons why I was behind the microphone doing radio.
Well, there we go. My head of PR, Mr. Ryan O'Connor. Make sure you're catching him on Heart FM in the afternoons when you're down in Cape Town with that smiling face and keeping Cape Town happy. This is Dan's Got Change with Bright Rock. We'll see you back again next week. Goodbye.